Alrighty. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see some of you here today, some new faces and some old. If you don't know me, my name is Ezra. I'm the Director of Outreach and Training at VPLC. And today's coffee chat is going to be about fixing the family glitch. Just so you know, just a couple housekeeping notes. I'll be in the background. If you have any tech issues or need anything from me, feel free to reach out. I'm currently labeled as VA Poverty Law on here. So send me a message if you need anything. This is being recorded, as you just heard. This will be also posted on our YouTube channel later on this week. Once the recording is finished processing, I will upload that. And I will also send that out in a follow-up email to all people who registered for this so that you can get the link to the recording and any other additional materials from our speaker today. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Sara Cariano. Thank you, Sara, for being here.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you, Ezra, and thank you everyone else for joining us. I know some offices may be closed and stuff for Election Day, so happy Election Day. Get out and vote. I know I plan to after this. So what we're here to talk about is the family glitch. So that is a part of the ACA that was built into kind of IRS regulation at the beginning of when the bill was first implemented, really in 2014 with the healthcare exchanges. And the IRS recently changed that role in a way that'll really benefit a lot of families, but it is this very kind of intricate, nuanced, wonky piece of the legislation, and it involves math and it involves employer coverage. And so it's really kind of hard for us to try to figure out how to communicate the change and reach folks who might be impacted by it. And so just really grateful that you all joined me this morning to learn a little bit about it. I'm absolutely open for questions after my contact information will be provided. So if you have questions down the road, please reach out. And I'm really excited that hopefully we can get some more partners helping find some of these families who could benefit and get back into maybe more affordable coverage or transition into more affordable coverage than what they've been able to get at this point. So I do just have a few slides to provide a bit of an overview, and then we can open it up for questions and a little more conversational. There we go. All right. Part of the morning. So just very high level review of the healthcare insurance marketplace, which is the affordable, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, whatever one you choose to call it. We, as the state of Virginia, still use the federally facilitated marketplace. So folks go to healthcare.gov to enroll and change in plans. It's where individuals and families who are not getting coverage elsewhere can purchase plans. There's open enrollment every year. We are in open enrollment right now, so make sure folks are aware and are going to get their coverage right now, checking out how plans have changed, because they have changed from last year, and making sure that you're still in the best coverage for you and your family. Next year, we will be moving to a state-based exchange. So we don't know what the name or the website will be yet, but we'll be at something having to do with healthcare.virginia.gov, probably. All the files will hopefully automatically be transferred over from healthcare.gov, but we will be watching that transition closely and helping partners and community members ensure that there aren't glitches, and if there are, they're not impacted by them. One thing about the marketplace that I do like to note, because I think a lot of people don't realize this going in, is that it will do an assessment for Medicaid as well as the marketplace, because if you're eligible for Medicaid, you can't get the financial assistance on the marketplace. I like to talk about the marketplace as the last bucket option. So if you can get employer coverage, if you can get Medicaid, if you can get Medicare, you can't get the marketplace with financial assistance. But if all those are a no, okay, then this is where we're going to look for coverage for you. And it is also the place where you can get that financial assistance, where you get help paying for the coverage. And again, open enrollment right now through January 15th. Please, if anyone is uninsured or looking for options, now is the time to do it, because once open enrollment ends, someone does have to have a qualifying event, so a move, a loss of coverage, something where they would be eligible for a special enrollment period to get that coverage. To buy on the marketplace, you really just have to live in the area where they sell the health plan. I don't know why you would want to buy a health plan in an area where you don't live. Be a U.S. citizen, national, or lawfully present. So the only folks who are excluded are individuals without legal status, as well as individuals with deferred action for childhood arrivals, which is explicitly carved out, unfortunately, and not be incarcerated. So pretty broad. But then to get the financial assistance, right, to get the help paying for the coverage, you have to not have access to other affordable and adequate coverage. And this is a key piece for the family glitch, because how we were defining affordable and adequate employer coverage, this glitch. So just kind of tuck that away. I'm going to talk about that in a bit more detail in a second. You also have to have income above 100% of the federal poverty line. So anyone below that, and really it's functionally 138 for most categories of people in Virginia, because of Medicaid expansion, is going to cover you. And again, if you have Medicaid, you can't get the financial assistance, or if you're eligible for Medicaid, you can't get the financial assistance. There is one exception I always like to shout out, because it is underutilized: legally residing folks who cannot get Medicaid, because the requirements for immigration status for Medicaid are pretty strict, especially for adults. So children and pregnant women a little broader, but for our non-pregnant adults, it's pretty strict. And so those folks can actually go to the marketplace if they have income below 100% and still get coverage and still get significant financial assistance. So I always like to shout that out, because I think there's a lot of individuals who think, who are in that category, who think they can't get coverage. And then last, if you have income below 250, you get this extra level of help, which are cost sharing reductions, which actually kind of help you bring down deductibles and out-of-pocket costs, right? So the premium tax credits bring down that monthly membership fee to have healthcare, to have that health coverage. The premium tax credits make it a little less expensive when you actually go see the doctor and have to pay for the care. So the family glitch, I refer to it as an error in the way we were defining affordability and employer coverage. Essentially, what was happening prior to this year is that the IRS said if the plan was affordable to just the employee, which was calculated 9.1, it changes a little bit every year, but this year it's 9.12% of the total household income, it's considered affordable. And if I was allowed to add my family to that plan, even at a higher cost, they looked at just my cost as the employee, and it was affordable. So no one in my household was eligible for tax credits on the marketplace. So for example, I'm married, I have 2 kids. If I'm the employee and my VPLC plan costs me 3% of my household income, it is affordable. That meant even if the family plan, which it doesn't, I don't charge VPLC here, costs 20% of my household income, that 20% cost didn't matter. They said, nope, the employee plan costs 3% of your household income. That's below our affordability threshold. That means no one in that household can get tax credits. So what was happening is that we saw a lot of folks where the employee would maybe take the coverage, maybe they'd add their kids or buy an individual plan for their kids, because folks most often are putting their kids first and they want to make sure their kids can get coverage. And then the spouse, the partner, the other adults in the family were just going without coverage, because the high cost plans on the marketplace, when you don't get the financial assistance, were too expensive. That 20% cost for the family plan through the employer was too expensive. And so they were left in this glitch and this gap. Finally, after many years of advocating for many groups advocating for the IRS to revisit how they interpreted the law, and just on the bold face of the fact that it made no sense the way they were doing it, they did revisit it and they issued new rules around it, and they are now going to be looking at that cost of that family plan, right? So now when they go in, they're in the same example. We would go in and say, okay, Sara Cariano, it's 3% for you as the employee. It is affordable for you. Check. Oh, it's 20% of the household income to add your children and your spouse. Okay, well, you still have to go on the employee plan because it's still affordable for you, the employer plan, but your family can now go to the marketplace, and we will use that 20% to say, oh yeah, not affordable for them. They can get tax credits. They can get the financial assistance on the marketplace. And so, you know, we are still going to have a bit of a complicated dance where families might end up in coverage in different places. And, you know, you're going to have probably 2 different premiums in that case, but the family premium will be significantly lower for a lot of people. And so we really want to be able to catch these folks. A lot of them may be uninsured. Some of them may be just paying a lot for the healthcare, and so at the employer plan. And so we just want to make sure folks who are newly eligible for this option, newly eligible for more affordable coverage, know about it so that they can kind of compare their options and make that choice. VPLC also runs a statewide navigator program. So we do ACA Medicaid assistance. And so I just wanted to put up our information so that if you have questions or you have a family who you think maybe could be eligible, newly eligible for tax credits through the ACA, there's somewhere where they can go and get help doing the application and ask their questions. Because again, it is still kind of a complicated dance to try to figure out. And so you can call Enroll Virginia and get connected with a local assister. You can always, stop sharing, come back. You can always contact me directly. I think my contact information was in the email. It's also in the slides on the last slide. So folks can reach out directly to me as well. But we really just appreciate everyone's time here. I'm happy to answer any questions about it. I'm happy to answer any other questions about open enrollment in ACA or Medicaid. Feel free to test me. I may or may not pass, but I'm happy to try. And I see a couple navigators on the phone, so please, I think they can chime in. And if you happen to be in the area, I'm happy to make that connection as well. So yeah, are there any questions, or did I talk too fast because I'm from New Jersey and I have a tendency to do that? Let me know. And I'm happy to revisit any of what I kind of mentioned already. No, it's early, guys. Someone's got to have a question.
And while people while they're thinking of their questions, and again, you can put them in the chat if you'd like, or you can also unmute if you'd like to ask it out loud. But again, for those who might have joined a little bit late and didn't hear my intro, this is being recorded, as you probably heard, and will be uploaded to YouTube, so you can always revisit the recording later on if you'd like. And I will also send a follow-up email from edoutreach@vplc.org that will contain that link. And also I will get Sara's slides, and I will share those as well so that you have that information.
And so, I'll just keep talking until someone asks a question. One thing to note as well is that even if the family has coverage through another option, so for folks who maybe have Medicaid for their children or CHIP, you would still look at the cost of the full family plan to assess whether or not individuals could get tax credit. So in that situation, if I make 180% of the federal poverty line, I'm above the income limit for a non-pregnant adult for Medicaid. So my spouse also would be. But my kids are within the CHIP category. They could get famous in Virginia. If I'm the employee, I have an affordable offer of coverage. We're still going to look at the family plan to figure out if my spouse can get tax credits. So we're going to look at the cost to insure everyone, even if the kids do have CHIP or Medicaid. I think that could be important for some folks to kind of realize as well. So we really want to just, look at the right numbers. And you're always also looking at the lowest cost adequate plan for that person. So I know some people will do the calculation looking at the plan from the employer that they want to enroll in, which may be the more robust plan. But the regulations do specify that we need to use the least expensive plan that at least has a 60% actuarial value, which is the equivalent of a bronze plan on the exchanges. And again, we can, as navigators, can help you figure out what that plan is if your employer plans meets these standards, so that we can hopefully, help you enroll. One thing also is if you need to obviously always fill out the applications accurately and honestly. If you happen to get a raise mid-year, and so all of a sudden your plan that wasn't affordable at the beginning of the year, like your income goes up, the plan cost doesn't change, so now it becomes affordable, there is a safe harbor that won't be held against you. You won't have to repay those tax credits. Obviously, when you do the application for the following year, you'll have to use the new numbers. And so you may, at that point, have to go back, or your family may have to go back into the employer plan. But there is a safe harbor. They understand that you're filling the application out right now for open enrollment. You're filling out the application for 2023 plan year, and things may change during the course of that year. So you do always want to update your application when things significantly do change, but there is at least a safe harbor. Deepak has asked, and Deepak, feel free to jump in on this, the ACA requirement to keep children on an employer plan until 26 and how this relates to the glitch. That kind of relates to the same as the the question around the children on Medicaid. So someone who's 26 very well could have their own offer of employer coverage. They could be working. They could be independently because they're filing their own taxes and living out of the home, eligible for Medicaid under Medicaid expansion. I know when I was a grad student, I wish Medicaid expansion was around because it would have been a lot more affordable than the very expensive plan I had to purchase. Because, I was in school before 2013 when the exchanges opened and before 2019 when we expanded. You'd still use that person, that household, as part of your household when you're looking at the cost to insure the whole family to calculate the glitch, even if that person, again, is getting this coverage or is eligible for coverages through their own work or through their own Medicaid household. Deepak, feel free to jump in if I've messed that up or wasn't clear about that. I know you know these things as well as I do, but I appreciate the plant question. So again, you're looking at everyone who's kind of eligible to be on that plan to calculate, to look at the cost of the family plan. So even if you're married and all the children are out of the house, then but they're eligible to be on your plan, then you would use the family plan, not just the adult and spouse plan. Deepak, go for it.
Yeah, like get on my video here. No, thanks, Sarah. I was just going to clarify one piece of that is that sometimes those 25-year-old, 26, 24-year-olds especially may not be tax dependents of the household. And that's where just to be aware of that, I think, because sometimes there's confusion that we get all the time because people are like, oh, but the ACA requires me to have be included on the plan. That's true, but it may not make them eligible for any assistance through the parent, right? They can always get it on the phone, but through the parent, it's not required through the ACA for them to get subsidies through the parent.
Yes. Yeah. So the ACA subsidies are always based on your tax household. And so this is one of those situations where just keeping your child on your employer plan until they're 26 is a relatively simple and straightforward thing. But because the ACA says you can keep them on your plan, but your tax credits are calculated based on your tax household. And so they may be on your plan, but you may not get tax credits for them. And so we do always kind of in that situation look at, okay, what does it look like to have that person, that older child on your ACA plan, as well as on their own ACA plan or something else? So there's two questions in the chat. I'm going to take Susan's first because I think that's just an easier order to answer them. So Susan asked, there's always been issues with identifying folks with an offer of employer-sponsored insurance who have rejected it. We can't go forward with an application without the completion of the employer coverage tool, so it could get complicated getting this all together. Best practice. That is true. Some people will honestly, first of all, we can only do the applications with individuals and to the best of our knowledge of the information that they've given us is accurate. And it is very important to answer all the questions accurately. And so, when we're scheduling appointments, we do a screening of, do you have employer-sponsored coverage? Please bring that information with you. And it can be tricky to answer those questions about the employer documents. And sometimes some employers are really great at getting it to folks and some people are not. Unfortunately, the best practice is asking the people ahead of time and ensuring that they bring the information, because we can't do the calculation without the information. I've definitely gotten to the end of an application by myself, and then the person will drop in oh yeah, I didn't enroll in my employer coverage. I'm like, well, remember 20 minutes ago when I asked you about the employer and you said no, and then you have to go back through the application. And so that's always gonna happen at times, but we need to be really clear that there could be penalties if you improperly answer questions on the application. If you get tax credits that you're genuinely not eligible for, you could be liable to have to repay them, and making sure people are really, really clear on that so that we can answer all those questions to the best of our ability. And we can help them answer them accurately and explain the consequences of not doing that. You do sign the application under penalty of perjury. And so hopefully some people do take that seriously. It is important. Carla asked us to review the calculation. We can send out a worksheet that some other folks have prepared, because this is a quick kind of overview type form. I don't have a calculation for family glitch worked out on a slide, so I can kind of talk through what the process would be, and then I'm happy to send follow-up resources about that. So again, say I make my household income is $20,000 a year. We're going to take the pre-tax amount. We're going to say 24 because that makes it even over 12 months. So that's $2,000 a month. Now, say my employee alone premium is, I know, right, is $100, right? So that's 5%. So that is affordable for me. But the family premium is $200 a month. That is 10%. That is unaffordable for the family plan. And so when we're looking at that, we'd say, okay, Sarah, you're the employee, it's 5%. You got to stick with the employer coverage. Sarah's kids and husband, you can go to the marketplace and look at the tax credits. And then the marketplace will do a second calculation based on the household size and family income and eligibility requirements to see how much tax credit, how much financial assistance through the marketplace the rest of the family gets to provide that, to get that kind of the tax credits. Now, $24,000 I think is under 200% for a household of 4, and so the rest of my family would also get cost sharing reductions in their plan, and so they would be able to get a plan with lower deductibles and out-of-pocket maxes and get a relatively affordable plan that way. And then, we'd have 2 different premiums and 2 different plans and deductibles, which isn't always ideal, but again, it's a better situation than what we had now, where the rest of the family was just having to pay the full cost or the 10% of our household income to all be in the same plan.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Hi, Lois.
Okay. Hi, Sarah. So I understand what you just said. When we do the calculations, we are doing a percentage of what it would cost if the family was added to the plan. The employer's
You do
plan.
it both. Well, first of all, the healthcare.gov marketplace does the calculations for you. But when we're meeting with people and we're kind of trying to review and figure out the best place for folks to go, yes, you would do both calculations. You would look at the employee alone plan to see if it's affordable for that employee. And then you would look at the family plan and whatever that family is, right? Like if it is just a couple, you would look at the employee and spouse plan. If it is a family of 4, you do employee, spouse, and dependent plan. So you got to you'll look at the plan that the employer offers that would cover everyone else in that household and that family. And you would do the calculation a second time. And if that is unaffordable, or if both are unaffordable, then that would direct who is likely to get tax credits in the marketplace. If you know that the employee is already enrolled in the employer plan and they're happy with that, Susan, to your question, you can do the marketplace application 2 ways. You could just try to apply for everyone. It'll do the calculation for everyone and it'll tell you kind of who could get tax credits and who couldn't. It is probably more straightforward if we know that the employee is going to be staying in the employer plan we still want to have the marketplace is still going to needs information on everyone in the household to calculate the tax credits correctly. So everyone in the household is still listed as a household member in the application, but then you would indicate just the folks who are looking for insurance as people who want insurance, right? So again, I'm in my employer plan. We need to list everyone, me, as part of my household on healthcare.gov, but we would say, I already have insurance. I'm just looking for insurance for Evie and Asher and Chad. And then it would just put them in a plan together and not put me in that plan because I've indicated that I don't need coverage.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks.
Yeah, Lois, I think I got it now. So we have to make the calculation, we have the mindset of doing that calculation to an employee only. And I think right now we'll have to enter the price for employee plus a spouse. Correct, Sarah?
It will ask both. So you do need to do both. Yeah.
Both. And then the system will calculate it. So the 9.12%, it will have to be applied not only to the person, but then to employee plus a spouse.
Yeah.
And then for the kids. So we'll have to make that calculation.
Not the employee, the spouse, and the kids. It's just the employee and then the family.
The whole family then, not the employee and the spouse.
It's just a 2-step process. If it is A couple with no children, it would be the employee and then the employee and spouse plan. If it,
Right.
but there's no, you don't have to do the employee and the spouse and then add the kids. It's just the employee
Right.
and then whatever plan covers everyone else in that household. And so it is a two-step process, but you're never like pulling the kids out. You're always including everyone else in that second step.
Okay, but if the job is giving you the three prices, because usually they give you employee only, employee
Yeah.
plus spouse, and then the whole family.
Right, because everyone's family in that organization might be different. So there's options for different family makeups. So we're just like the employee, we're going to say, okay, this one is just you, and then this is the option that covers everyone else in that household. The employer plan is going to list, and some even break them down: employee and one child, employee and more than one child. So just knowing kind of it's just the employee alone, and then whatever plan option covers everyone else is that second step. And you don't need to worry about the other options. It's just those two that we're going to be using. And yes, the employee has to say, well, they will not get tax credit. They will not get financial assistance even if they don't like their employer plan. They could still purchase a full cost plan. But if it isn't affordable to them only, that is going to keep them out of tax credits in the marketplace. Yes.
So I'm reading what it says here. It says an employee has to stay in affordable employee coverage regardless of whether they like it or not.
Yes.
So in other words, okay, so I work for XYZ company and I like my insurance. Everything is going along.
Mhm.
So in that case, we don't have to work. Oh, so in other words, we would have to do that calculation anyway to see if I can get tax credits and lower my monthly premium. So I would have to take that and leave my employer-sponsored insurance.
Well, if you're happy with your employer and sponsor insurance, you're probably not paying 10% of your household income for just you. You don't have to do anything. It is if your employer and sponsor insurance is affordable, you are not eligible for tax credit. So you could buy a full price plan. If you're paying a lot in your income and you like your employer plan, you don't have to go to the marketplace. It may be helpful to know that you could get a less expensive plan on the marketplace if the employer option is not affordable. So you know all your options, but if there's no one dictating what you have to do. It is just saying you may be eligible for tax credits or not eligible for tax credits based on that cost of the employer plan. Again, most people who are paying a relatively low rate for their employer plan and are happy with the plan are not coming into our offices. It's the folks who are kind of struggling to meet that premium responsibility.
I get it. Okay, so it's the employee has to stay in affordable employee coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
but
thanks.
that no longer bars the rest of the family if the family plan is not affordable. So that's the change.
Okay, thank you.
And I think that puts us on time. I am happy to stay on and answer more questions, but I don't want to trump on anyone else's morning. And so I just want to say thank you for everyone who came. I'll hang out and answer questions. Ezra, I don't know if you had any closeout comments for anyone before we kind of said thank you again one last time.
Thank you so much for being here and for asking questions. And thank you so much, Sarah, for answering all of these questions and providing your time and expertise to us all today. Again, I'll send that follow-up email with the slides, the link to the recording, and I will also copy Sarah on it so that if anyone wants to reach out, feel free to do so. And I think if you have any suggestions or things that you would like to hear at a future coffee chat, you can always send those to me either at Ezra, EZRA at VPLC.org or edoutreach, EDOUTREACH at VPLC.org. Let me know what kind of topics you'd like to hear. That'll help us, make sure that these are relevant to what your needs are and what you'd like to learn about. So let us know. And I think that's all for me. Again, thank you, Sarah. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you, Ezra, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
All
Sarah.
right. Thank you.